So, so I have some kind of record of this. I wish I had started earlier, but better late than never.
I did start it early.
What? Good. I don't know if you're recording in the breakout room over there, whether you can do it separately in the breakout room, because you got a couple of people at B22. This is the first time I've tried a Zoom session for a B team and its subordinate commands. If this works, I will do the same thing for the other B teams that I work on. I would like to see a larger number of people turning out. Obviously, the turnout is what makes the sessions most useful. But you know, for a start, this is not that bad.
How many people do we have left?
As I said, I mailed out invitations to over 100 people with emails. So the limit on this breakout or this particular meeting would have been 100 people. And the breakout rooms would have been very useful to break out smaller groups. And I'm perfectly willing to pass on my lists, which are set up by camp, to anybody who wants to follow up on a specific camp. So contact me after this, and if you want, I'll give you a list. But I would trust that you would use it wisely and use it to promote the camaraderie and history of the particular camp that you were at. So, as I said, when this session is finished, I'm going to turn my attention to B23 and move on. I left my website alone for about 8 years, and I figure this is going to be my last chance to go through it and update it and improve it. So I will try to do that in the time remaining. It's not my only project I've got outstanding, but it's one project that I'm interested in doing. For all of you that are still here with us, the most recent project I just finished was a 14-book series on the Vietnam War from 63 to 76 that I edited, and it's pretty good. It's on my email. It's on the bottom of the email address under special offer, and that special offer is open until the 15th of the month, which isn't far away. After that, it goes up from $200 to $250 for the set. And for those people who were involved with SOG, I just got delivery of our next series, which is copies of the MACV command history, SOG command history. And that's been printed. And the next one that'll be printed after that, it's 20 volumes of MACV command histories, which are fascinating at 1,000+ pages a year. So there's a lot of stuff out there, and I'll do as much as I can while I'm still around to do it. But it's a lot of fun, and every day is a new discovery.
Hey, Steve, I've got a question for you.
Okay.
Do you have the dates on when Major George was the commander of B-22?
Major who?
George, Major George.
Okay, B-22. His daughter called on that. I am going to go into screen sharing, and I'll pull up this screen. Okay, everybody should be able to see the screen here. And then this is B-22. The question that was asked, it seems like it was about 2 months into Charlie Brewington's time when that team moved over. No. Yeah, well, I don't know exactly when it moved over from, I guess it went from Ankh to Antuk, and then it went to Quinyon, and I'm not sure the date of that. All right.
Yeah, I was involved in the move to Quinyon.
Raymond George, see down here, was the XO at the liaison office from these months. During that period of time, 766, I have a hole in the command. So it's very possible that George from 366 to 766 filled that spot.
Yeah, I know for sure he was there in May of '66, and I was there until he left, and Hassinger came in June. I actually left a little before him.
So you're telling me that George should be in here from
In the blank
you
space.
arrived, in
In
that
the blank
space.
Yep.
Okay. And how about Buttermore? Did he come in and replace George?
No, it was Hassinger.
No, Hassinger was the CO. Who replaced George as the XO?
When I was there, George was the commander.
I have a Charles Buttermore. Was he around when you were there?
I don't know. I remember Charlie, but I don't recall him being. I was just there a couple of weeks.
Okay.
But I did take part in the relocation of the camp. I actually drove a damn deuce on that fucking pass off the high ground down to the low ground there, and driving a deuce and a half myself with 30 goddamn machine guns in the back, and I almost went off the fucking road. Yeah.
But what's an AOY status?
That means I think I know where he is, but I'm not sure because he hasn't answered my phone call. Right. I'm not seeing you here on the B team. Bob?
Yeah.
When were you at the B team and what did you do?
Scroll up to the S3 part.
Okay.
There in 66. May 66, I was there.
May 66. As the 3 replacing Lynch?
Yeah. I remember Lynch was the guy that took off when he came in.
Okay. But you're only there for a few weeks.
Yeah. I was waiting to take over an A camp, so I had to wait around. And,
Did Lynch come back?
Oscar Beale got injured, and I went down A226. I went in June '66. I went to my left. Yeah.
Okay. So you're S3 for less than a month?
Yeah, just a couple of weeks.
Where did Lynch go?
I think he might have come back and took over again because I lost track of what was happening. Because I went to the A camp and I didn't give a crap. So
all right. On the bottom of these pages on my website, I have added these links. So, for example, Quinyon, I have to stop sharing. Share again. All right. Now, Buddy tells me the Quinyon detective was down here. But the reporting in 66 says it was up here. Does anybody know anything about that?
We were close to the water, I remember
Could
that.
Well, that's close to the water and that's close to the water. There's different.
Thank you, dear.
Pass me that.
On the water.
Anyway, these maps are on the site for B-22 in Teams. And now they're kind of interesting because what I receive as a report may not correspond with what other people are told, because I don't know whether the teams had any rules about how to report the location, their team location. Did they report the coordinates of the flagpole, the team house, the runway, the helipad? So it's hard for me to tell what they did. Bob, you were at what? At Mylin?
Yeah.
Okay. So go here. 226 Mylin.
Oh, thank you, dear.
Okay. Stop share and share Mylin. Okay. Whoever's got the radio on should mute.
Can you show where Chia was?
I'll come back to that. I'm here at Mylin.
Okay, yeah, we were just north of Chia Rio.
Well, here's the camp.
Okay.
That's the
Yeah,
coordinates that were reported. Now, the question I have, is that in the right place? Should it be over here? Should it be
It looks
down
like
here?
it was, we fronted right on the highway and we were not too far from the river. Yeah.
Oh, so that looks good.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
And
Right,
we
well,
have to go down that highway to Chia Rio.
no, it's hard to tell, but these maps are pretty contemporaneous. I believe that they're around 1967, 68 vintage maps. I tried where I could to get them into the 60s. So they're there on the website for each camp under B-22. And as I go through this, I'll add them to all the other camps in Vietnam. So, okay, stop here.
So you have maps on the website of where each camp location was?
For B-22, yes.
Okay.
And
All right, well, I'll go on there and take a look at where 228 is and let you know.
yeah. So,
I know that you can find it on a modern day aerial view, because it looks like what had been our runway is a main thoroughfare going through whatever town is there now.
well, they had monthly reports, the MOPS you're maybe familiar with, and they reported the location of the camp every month. And I just don't know what the basis of that reporting was, whether they just copied it from the last month or whether they said, okay, the coordinates of the flagpole, the coordinates of the runway, whatever.
Mhm.
So I used those coordinates that they reported to plot it on the map. And I made a 200-meter circle around that
Mhm.
spot. And that was what I used. But if you look at the map carefully and you're familiar with the ground, you'll find a bunch of interesting things. At one camp, the camp was located on the east end of the runway. And the camp commander agreed that's where it was. Everything is fine.
Mhm.
But there was some other stuff on the opposite end of the runway. It said there was nothing there. But it was like, little rubble or something on the map.
Mhm.
And after a great deal of research, we found out that an earlier TDY team, which did not use the same name for the camp, had its camp at the other end of the runway before his camp was opened up. So it was kind of interesting to see that happen. So Mark really hasn't said very much over here. He's got his microphone off. So,
Hey, Jim McFadden
Jack,
was, yeah, Jack, excuse me. Did you know Jim Moore at 227? You were there for a brief while.
Jim Moore.
Yeah.
No, I don't recall the name.
Okay. He was there when I was there, and I put him on this link, and he hasn't managed to get on yet.
Oh,
He's,
okay.
back in New Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
you were there in 66 at 227, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Now,
Does anybody-
I wasn't
Sorry.
assigned to 227. I was assigned to B22 from, I guess it was March until May of 67. And then they were at Bangsan then. Right?
Yeah. Right.
And I was up there. We had a couple of people from the B team that went up there at like a forward operating base for a Mike Force operation taking place in, I'd say it was March of 67. So I was up there for that. And then later on in around August of 67, they moved 227 from Bangsan to a place called Hat Tay.
Right.
And when they moved it, we had a company. We took a company of CIDG there. Myself and another guy from. I was on 22. I was at Vinthon 228 at the time. We brought up a company to run operations around the camp when they were building it. We were there for about 2 weeks. And that guy that was with me was Siggy Butler. And I don't know, Steve, have you ever heard anything from Sigurd Butler?
I never heard anything back from him.
Yeah.
I never found where he was.
Well, he's in Germany, as far as I know. He left Vietnam January 68 from the Mike Force in Pleiku. And he was going to Germany. And as far as I know, He spent the rest of his career in Germany, and I believe he was command sergeant major over there.
Well, I had an address for him in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
He had family. He had family in Pennsylvania.
Now that may be was there, but I had no death, no obituary, and no other domestic address. A lot of people are in Germany.
Yeah.
Hey, can you see this?
I see it.
That was the entrance to B-22.
Okay, but you know that shows
Okay,
the water
number one.
behind the sign. And
Number
I
two.
really can't put it on the map very well.
Look at this.
Okay, that's good.
That was, we were,
X marks the spot.
yep, the little circle there.
Okay. That was
Is
the
that on the
secretary
side?
sunbathing down there, right?
Then here's an aerial of the camp.
Did you send me those by email?
If I would, I could. Yes. I got some better ones, but those I just printed out to throw up here.
Okay. Well, if you printed them out from a file, should you just send me the files?
Yeah. Well, I got them on the computer. I was going to put them up on you. Now that you've put the site, a place for pictures, I was going to put them up there.
Well, I'm still working on specialforcesphotos.com. There's something wrong with the setup on it, and I can't upload pictures quite yet. But the people are working on it, and that will be available shortly, I hope. And
Well,
anybody can post as many pictures as you want, captions. People can come by and revise the captions.
I have a fairly good selection of pictures. You know, after Tet 68, I bought a camera, and I carried that sucker everywhere I went. And that day we took 35mm slides. They laid in a box for years because couldn't show them. I finally went and bought me a slide scanner, and I've got about 200-300.
Well, take a look at specialforcesphotos.com, and you see how it's laid out. Every camp, just like specialforcesbooks.com,
Yeah.
every camp has its own place. The difference is I learned from specialforcesbooks.com that I can't do it all. So, and that site is designed so you can upload your pictures there by yourself. You can write your own damn captions, and I don't have to worry about it at all, except to authorize you when the first time you sign in. But that process right now, when I moved over to my new host, got screwed up. So they're unscrewing it up, and when they fix it in a couple of days, it should be open and ready for business. I've got a guy in Australia whose father was at Ashau back in '64 with Harry Ching, and he's got about 200 pictures as well from his father's collection. So he's waiting to put those up too. So
Who remembers?
Mike, it looks like Jim Moore is showing up. A little embarrassment was enough to get him to come and get off of that.
Okay, good.
Welcome, Jim.
Thank you. Hi, Steve.
You see
Hey,
Mike
Jim,
over there?
Jim, you're late.
I am late. Yeah, but my dog had a little problem. I had to take care of that. I love my dog. But I like SF too. So you guys are worth me waiting for you.
You might want to put a light in the front of you because you're a dark shadow right now.
Oh, really? Oh, hold on. Wrong one. No, that's the one. Well, that doesn't help either. It's amazing.
Probably needs to be in front of you rather than behind you.
Yeah, yeah, turn that one out. That one's making it worse. Put these on and those that should be.
All right, this worked. I called him up and he got embarrassed enough to get up here. Who else should I call up and put there? Anybody have a preference? I'm certainly not going to worry about Chalmers Wood. We all put up with enough yesterday. And that was more than enough burden.
Oh, that's better. That's a little better.
Okay, I'm going to mute myself and call up a couple people. You guys have fun.
Glad you could make it, Jim.
Thank you. Mike, oh, Michael, my gosh, how are you, buddy?
Hey, hanging in.
Boy, oh boy. When it happened to you, buddy, I never thought I'd be talking to you today. This is wonderful.
They just blew me up a little bit.
That wasn't a little bit, Michael. You're being very modest about it. They beat the tar out of you. Yeah. I don't either. Oh, why don't I sit the other way? Yeah, sit this. Oh yeah, that already. Oh, that's better. There we go.
There you go.
There we go. A little bit. It was good for a second.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good-looking officer and a gentleman.
You're muted.
I
So
told
you
you that I
you're
found the
muted,
captain,
you
right?
can't-
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm muted. Trying to get it unmuted. There we go. Okay. That's unmuted.
Hey, Jim, you're not the only one with a dog.
I got my Springer Spaniel here too, but she's
Ah.
occupied sleeping on the floor.
Who remembers Bob Cherry? Staff Sergeant Bob Cherry with me at Kunson in late '68.
Mm-hmm.
I know he
Comes on too.
Nobody remembers Bob?
Bob Cherry, I remember.
Okay. Last time I heard from him, he was living, I believe, in Alaska.
Was that right?
And then I heard he passed away.
No.
Had some fun, interesting times with him.
There's a Bob Cherry in Florida.
Oh,
I don't know if he's the same one.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. I was with that Bob Cherry in the UW department at Bragg before Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
Say what now?
I was with Bob Cherry at Bragg in 67. We were in the
Okay.
UW department of Special Warfare School.
Okay.
That's the one that's in Florida.
One in Florida. Okay.
I've probably got an address somewhere.
Yeah. I'll try to find it.
Robert G. Cherry was at 221, and he died in 2018.
Okay. He was at 221.
221,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That was the Bob Cherry.
Yeah.
Because I was at 221 for a while, a couple times.
Yeah, he lived in the villages in Florida, and it was in the drop.
And we're talking about the same one.
Oh, okay. What are you hearing, a TV or something?
No, I'm with my computer. The computer knows everything. I know nothing.
Mhm. So, Buddy, you remember me from B-22, or
Who?
just my ugly reputation?
Remember who?
Me.
Oh, yeah.
Vern.
Oh, yeah.
You do remember?
Yeah, you're assistant medic.
Why? There was no other medic there.
Well, we had Tommy Tussey for a while. When I first got there, it was Warren, starts with an S, Shipley. And Shipley went to CCN, and Tussey took over for a little while, then Bob Laura came. And Laura passed away in February.
Mm.
And he also was in Florida.
Mhm.
Either Florida or Arizona, right? A lot of people ended up.
Yeah. Oh, you know Bob Laura? No, he was here in Texas. He sold mobile homes down towards Galveston, little town. And then I think his marriage went south and he moved to Florida. He married a nice lady named Sandy. In fact, they just had his memorial service in August. She waited till his birthday.
Oh,
And Chuck Hoagland, visited him. He was in Florida too. In fact, he lived here in San Antonio for a little while. Then he went back to Florida. He passed away about 10 years ago. And several of us out of B-22 went to his funeral. In fact, there's a couple things that y'all need to know about of interest. In I think it was October of 2014, this guy got a hold of me. He found my name on the internet, and he was putting together a proposal to rename the
Mhm.
ceremonial field at the marksmanship unit at Fort Benning. And it turns out that Lieutenant McHugh, who got killed in Tet 68 out of B-22, had been in the marksmanship unit as an enlisted guy when he first came in the Army. And he went to OCS, got commissioned, and came back as an officer in the same unit. And then he went to SF school and bragging to B-22. He was the S2 officer. And the first day of Tet, he was the first one that got killed. So they wanted to rename the ceremonial field the John J. McHugh parade field. And he invited me to come down and bring as many guys from B-22 as I could get to go. Got about a half a dozen. And we went there. Of course, I got shanghaied into being the guest speaker too, by the way. But they renamed it the John J. McHugh ceremonial field. And in attendance was, I have to find the list, but I can't remember all that stuff.
Okay, gentlemen,
Of course, who commanded the Mike Force and something else before that. Abe Ruff from Futuk, Joe Hannon from B-22 at Hate. I don't know if y'all remember the FAC forward air controller that flew support for B-22 all the time. His name was Lou Like, and his I can't remember his call sign right now, but I'll come back in a minute. Who else was there? There was at least two more. We did the ceremony thing. We had a nice dinner the night before, and then we all decided that B-22 could have a reunion. And we said we'd do it in conjunction with the 5th group annual reunion. So in 2015, we all assembled in Hopkinsville, Kentucky for dinner. Had quite a turnout. John Paget, Nick Watson, myself, Mike Reisner, Gary Wagner, Johannan, and there was a couple more. Those I remember. Oh, Doug Morris. And we repeated it in 2016. Then everybody started dying, so we kind of like didn't do it. But now, last year, well, not last year because they didn't have it, but the year before, same crew plus Jack McFadden, who's sitting beside you there right now, and I think that was it. Same crew. So anyway, we've had some pretty good get-togethers, and Vernon, I was looking all over hell for you, but I couldn't find you. I don't know where the hell you are. But I had to put a pretty good list together of guys that were still kicking and could do email and stuff like that. And one of my, well, last year I had lunch with, remember Captain Bauman? He was the S3.
I remember the name.
Yeah, Captain Charlie Bauman. Well, I found him. He's up the damn road from me, retired brigadier general.
Wow.
If I go up the road 20 miles the other way, those that might remember Buck Walters. Walter was a lieutenant then. He retired brigadier general and lives in New Braunfels, Texas. Who else? Well, anyway, that's some of the B team guys that I've been able to locate. And Mike Reisner, he's in Etheridge, Tennessee. Gary Wagner's in Oklahoma, Moore, Oklahoma, as a matter of fact. And Paul Owens is in Louisville, Kentucky. Mike Winstead is in Dawson Springs, Kentucky. And I'm Buddy Gee, I'm in San Antonio, Texas. And Dickie Pirtle was in Fort Worth, but he passed away about 5 years ago. I don't know if y'all remember a Vietnamese interpreter we had named Robbie. There was three actually. Johnny Van Eye, Robbie, and a little wiry guy called Bobby. Bobby got killed in Honduras, and Johnny Van Eye died in a traffic accident in Honkay, and Robbie is still alive up in Fort Worth, and we get together. In fact, he goes to 5th group reunion.
All right.
Yeah, a sad
You
story.
lose a Vietnamese interpreter in Honduras.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Say what?
How did you lose a Vietnamese interpreter in Honduras?
Oh, well, he was working as a mercenary. And anyway, Robbie was in prison for 5 years after we pulled out of Vietnam. And when he got out, he threw his family, wife and 2 kids in a motorboat, took out across the South China Sea. A couple of days on the water and his engine gave out. But he had a poncho and he used that as a sail and to catch rainwater for drinking. And they made it all the way to Manila. He got into a refugee camp, had an accident, injured himself. Now he's paralyzed from waist down. But a religious family, a church in Fort Worth sponsored him and his family, took him to Fort Worth. He's retired now as an IT guy and put one kid through law school and one through medical school. He's doing that. But he most likely will be at the 5th group reunion again this year. Oh, and Bob Longfellow. Our story goes back to Fort Bragg. He was a major. I was a sergeant. And I was on staff duty in CO, and Sunday morning, and Longfellow came to sign out. And I looked at his clearance papers and said, "You can't sign out, man. You hadn't cleared anything." He's a smooth talker. He convinced me that he signed out. I'll take his clearance papers Monday morning and get him cleared, which I did. His parting words to me were, Sergeant, when you get to Vietnam, call me, you got a job. I chuckled under my breath in Vietnam. I never even heard of the place. So a couple months later, I got my orders. I got my call from Ms. Alexander, and she told me I was going to 5th group. I got to the train and I called Longfellow. I told him I'm here and I'm going to collect that debt. He said, you're coming to B-22. Well, fortunately, the group gave me orders to B Company. And so I get to B Company and Fassenheimer and Paul, Sergeant Major that carried the M1 rifle, Joe Lacey, said, no, you're not going to B-22, you're staying here. So I called Longfellow and said, I'm screwed, man. He said, no, you're not. They argued a little bit. He called me back and he said, there's a chopper on the way. When it gets there, you get on it. I did. I got to B-22. And that's how I got there. And fortunately, he treated me very nicely the whole tour. And we kept in touch after that. He retired from the Army because they were going to send him back to Vietnam for the 3rd time. He didn't want to go, so he retired. And he went to work for Holiday Inn Corporation. Well, he died last year, 82 years old, I think he was. But we kind of buddied together all them years. We took vacations together. We'd go to the Special Forces Association convention and 5th group reunion, and then we'd always take a private vacation along in conjunction with that. Had a lot of good fun with him over the years. Hate to see old McGuire die too. He was a character.
You're talking about Charles McGuire?
Yes.
Yeah, man, he was something else.
Well, me and Sergeant Major McGuire, myself, and McIntyre got busted by the MPs down in Quinyon one night for curfew violation. And they hauled us to the damn provost marshal's office. The desk sergeant said, look, you guys call the unit, get somebody to come pick you up, and I'll let you go. Okay. So we called the unit. The damn lieutenant went and told the colonel, he had us a nice guy over there. So they had to come and sign for us, took us back, and we all had to report to Colonel Cerrone Monday morning. And we went in by rank. McGuire was first. He came out shaking his head and wouldn't say shit. McIntyre was second. He come out, same thing. My turn came, I went in, man, Cerrone raped me up one side and down the other, and then told me I was in the compound for 2 weeks unless it was an operational necessity. Then I could go. Thank you, sir. Out I went. I go over to McGuire's room. Him and McIntyre already popping beer, and we had the rest of the day to enjoy our life. And every time we left the compound, it was an operational necessity.
I got busted and bagged in downtown Quinyon one night by the MPs. They dragged me in, and then they called the B team, and captain came down in the Jeep, grabbed me and brought me back, and nothing was said. I think by that time, there were so many of us caught downtown that they gave up on having him talk to the colonel.
I was in the train one time with Mike Reisner. I was a staff sergeant or SFC, and he was Spec 4. Mm-hmm. We're walking down the damn street, and this cowboys on this Vespa or this motorcycle come by. They snatched the beret off his head. He chased the motorcycle down and beat the shit out of them guys. Come back, I got my beret. One of my favorite stories. He goes to the 5th group reunion every year too.
Charlie, what happened to Parker? You left him in the room there? Charlie?
Yeah.
What happened to Murray Parker?
Oh, he went home.
He went home.
I guess he went back someplace else.
Oh, well.
This is Jack McFadden. I got to run. I got an appointment to go sell a car this afternoon. So I look forward to next time you have one of these. I really appreciate having been here. And talk to you later.
Okay.
You got the info for the 5th group, right?
Say
Jack,
again?
you have the dates and everything for 5th group reunion?
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm registered.
Okay, I'll see you there.
Okay, see you there, buddy. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, Jack.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah,
Mike Barry.
yeah, Jack.
Can you give me a phone number or something? I'll give you a call sometime, catch up.
Yeah, you want it now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, 970-764-4108.
Okay. I'm at 484-459-9038.
I can't remember anything long enough anymore for that. Let me write that down.
484
484
459
459
9038.
9038. Okay, Jack.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Take care.
Right. Bye.
Take care, Jack.
I got to figure out how to leave here.
Oh, down the bottom right-hand corner, it says leave.
Oh, yeah.
Pull the power cord out of the wall.
Take scissors and cut it.
Charlie, beside Murray Parker, yesterday I had an email from Kenneth Cook. He didn't show up here today, but he was on your team as well.
Well, Hannon told me he was going to check in today, but he didn't.
Well, a lot of people seem very shy about coming to a Zoom meeting. That's why I had a special deal yesterday where people could check out their equipment if they felt like it. But
Hannon is pretty techie.
Say again?
Hannon is pretty techie.
Yeah, well, Hannon had no problem with, but why he didn't go. Mark, there you are. You have a face. Hey, you can.
Yep, I'm here.
You're here. But when the COVID stuff started, I asked my granddaughter what I was going to do for communications, and she said my great grandson is going to school on Zoom. So I figured if he could do it, I could figure out how to do it. And I've been practicing with it for some time. I designed conventions for the SOA, the SFA. But one of the problems is people are just reluctant to click on a button. Not that hard. Look, go ahead and talk. I answer this phone here.
Okay.
Vernon, where are you living now? Vernon, where are you now?
Oh, is it me? I'm in Richmond, Virginia.
What about Vernon Johnson?
I was,
I'm in Arizona,
Oh,
Kingman, Arizona.
Kingman.
Kingman, yeah. Not too far is this. Is it
I had some.
gonna be Vegas this year?
Yeah. Going.
Yeah,
I'll be out in Vegas.
I'll be over there. When's 5th group?
It's at Fort Campbell. 20th.
Campbell?
This month, the 20th till the 25th.
One of the problems I had with the one of the reunions last year is I talked to over 500 people, all of whom were excited and interested in coming. and we had about 150 people show up. So people, for some reason, are reluctant to follow up on the Zoom, which unfortunately is too bad. We're now being entertained by the arrival of Chalmers Wood. I don't know if I need to give a preamble. All those who were here yesterday are forewarned.
Is Chip here?
Hello.
He's here.
Is he here? I saw him yesterday.
Right here.
Gentlemen,
This time you're in the middle of the screen. That's a little better than you were yesterday. You're
Stephen,
too far over to the left as usual.
my sound is breaking up. Gentlemen, my sound is breaking up. Too many of you got your mics on and you're not speaking, but picking up background noise. So if you're not going to speak, hit the mute button in the lower left of your screen. That'll help the sound for everybody else.
Good plan.
I don't have it. Oh, there it is. There it is. Oh, that.
Mark, what's your story? Mark Smith?
Oh, yeah, I do have a couple of questions. I was with P22 and on K when they moved to Quinyon. I think Charlie said it was in no, Charlie got to on K, in 1965? Did you say, Charlie? Okay. A question. Had Martha Ray been there? Because when I got there, 66, there was a note on the latrine that says, Martha Ray sat here. Okay. She and John Wayne were buddies. And John Wayne was going to make a movie called The Green Berets. And I was the escort officer for the screenwriter, Barrett, James Lee Barrett. And we got to a camp. There was a fellow who came up, a big burly guy, and I said, "Hey, Top, how you doing, Sarge?" And he pulled off his gloves and he says, "I'm Lieutenant Colonel Happersat." Oops.
I remember Happersat.
He said, "I was going to ask, does anybody know Colonel Happersat?"
Yeah. I remember him from Lost.
Yeah.
He has a reputation that follows.
Okay.
I won't go
We
into
RON'd and we took a little bit of fire that night. And James Lee Barrett, being from Hollywood, thought, oh, they're just putting on a show for me. And then a couple of rounds hit the place. It was under construction and his face changed. And, oh, this is real.
Yeah.
So the movie, I think most of you have seen the movie. It's a nice movie, but it's not supposed to be based on the book. It's not real, but it's a good movie to see.
Yeah.
Well, any movie with John Wayne.
I went back and looked, and I think Charlie made a move originally from On K to On Took. And then later there was a move from On Took to Quinyon.
On K to Quinyon.
I'll be right back.
Or On Took to Quinyon, rather. On Took to Quinyon. The original site was there at On K when you came in. You were there for about a month, I believe. Then you moved to On Took, which just down the road a piece.
I don't think so.
Well, you guys were there, and I'm just looking at it.
Mm-hmm. Mark,
No.
where were you? I'm looking at, all the paperwork. I can't find you. Where were you in B-22? Camp or B team?
It started off in on K, and it was just across the highway, I think 29,
Yeah.
from the first Cav division, with which I had served as the it was the 11th Air Assault Division test
Yeah.
at Fort Benning for 2 years, and then they flagged it as the first Cav division, and soon moved to on K.
When did you leave on K?
I don't recall, but I was still with B-22. And it moved, as I recall, it moved from Ankei to Quignon. Quite different.
I was in on K with the 173rd for a little while.
It might have been earlier.
Yeah, I think you were there before me.
Yeah. When I was there, we didn't use as many M16s as most people. Little humor here. We used ammunition is very cheap,
Yeah.
Takes a couple of these things. That's all.
Yeah, muzzle velocity sucks too.
Yeah.
Hey,
I don't know how valid that location is.
Hey, Dunning, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
You were in Kungsan with me, I think. Under Snelling?
That's right. That's right.
Well, when I left Phu Tak, I went to play coup to the Mike Force.
Yeah.
And I was at the Mike Force when we went into Duklop, and that was sort of the end of my experience.
Boy, Duklop sucked, I hear.
It was not a good day, I can tell you that.
No, yeah. And you were in Phu Tak too.
I was at Phu Tak. Yep, I got into Phu Tak and went out on an operation, came back, and was sent into Quignon to do a little scrounging, and ended up with a blood clot in my left leg. Sent me to the hospital in Cameron Bay for a month. They dissolved the clot and said they're going to send me home. That worked right out back to Phu Tak again in time to help close down the camp. And
Were
then,
you there under Bacote or under Lund?
Well, Lund was there when I started, but it was Bacote when I got back.
Yeah, Lund runs some hero magazine now.
Lund passed away, and that company is no longer in business.
Yeah, I'm glad.
That used to be Paladin Press.
Bacote has a good brain, though. I like him.
Yeah, he was a good man. I think Matty would say the same thing.
Yeah.
He spoke to me yesterday, returning my call, but he's not up here today. So
I hope he gets here. If he doesn't, send me his phone number, would you please?
Okay.
I'm doing a book, and some of you will like it. Some of you are going to hate it. But he figures importantly there because he was, when I got to Phu Tak, remember Cunt and Pisser, the monkeys?
That's the monkey that belonged to the captain?
Yeah, they were two, an old female and a young male, right?
And they belonged to Sergeant Ruff. That was
yeah, and they lived in the hooch, in the bar kitchen, right?
Yeah.
And I come in there as a butter bar lieutenant, and they put the monkeys on me, and the monkeys are fast, you know. They would be on my shoulder, pulling my ear before I could reach up and grab them. They're long gone down between my legs, squeezing my balls. And there were two of them, and they were just fast as shit, right? So I was humbled Immediately, as soon as I got to Futuk.
Wow.
Yeah,
If,
they
if
had,
they were squeezing your balls, they must have liked you.
yeah, right.
Fuck you.
No, because if they didn't like you, they'd piss on you.
That's right. But wait a second. Do you remember we would try and encourage cunt or try and encourage pisser to screw cunt, right?
Oh
And
yeah,
it would
but you
take
wouldn't allow it.
hours to get him up to speed to the
Oh,
point
yeah.
where it really, start trying to work on her. And after all of this work, she would turn around and give him one whack and he would fly across the room, screaming in agony, totally lost, all his confidence gone, a broken monkey. And, we would spend the next 4 hours, egging him back on, and he'd do it again and she'd do it again. And this went on for, this was most of the beginning part of my war in Vietnam was cotton pisser.
Oh, if you
I'm
can
gonna
handle
do a
that
check-
kind of, you can handle that kind of conflict, you can do anything.
That's true. Well, I'm going to do substantial paragraphs on cotton pisser as an education, because we have all these gender problems as humans, and the monkeys, can teach us a lot.
Do you need a photo of the monkeys?
I got one, but send anyone to me. Anybody that has any information on anything interesting and amusing, because I think I can write a good book. Send it to me.
I had a little puppy dog at B-22, and they brought them monkeys in, and them monkeys tried to rape my dog.
Probably.
They did. I got pictures of it.
I'll tell you, the funniest thing I ever saw in my life was about a 350-pound female pig being raped by a 25-pound male, right? And he couldn't get up to the entry point for hours, but he kept trying. He never gave up. Finally, somehow he got a cinder block under him so that he was at the right injection height, and he managed to do the deed. And it's warped my life ever since.
What I remember about Dump Cunt was whenever she got loose, she had 3 objectives. First was to go into the barracks and go up into the rafters and eat all the spiders.
Yeah.
Then the next step was go to the men's room, where our shaving and all the gear was.
Yeah.
She would grab all the cans of shaving cream and spray it all over the place.
Really?
And when that was done, she would run over to the mess hall where Madame Ting was working, the cook.
Yeah.
She was bonkers scared about the monkeys, and the monkey knew this, and so the monkey would chase her all over camp, and that was pretty much the end of his day. Then he'd be back in the cage.
Of course, you didn't help him at all. Now, some of you may remember this that were at Kung San. When I was out there, the ambassador from England came to visit with my father, and he brought his daughter, who was a 20-year-old English girl with very round eyes, right? And there was a monkey at Kung San that the previous administration, not me, no, had taught that when you would say, wouldn't you like to reach in and pet our monkey? She was like a 5-year-old female, right? She was, be quiet, Kedris, Robert. She would grab your finger much faster than you could react and cram it up her, never mind, right? And so we took the ambassador's daughter when I wasn't looking, I've forgotten who it was, said, wouldn't you like to come and meet our monkey? This is the ambassador's virgin daughter. God. You have no idea how difficult diplomacy is sometimes, because I'm really a private diplomat, and you guys are the guys, you're my second job. You guys are the guys that saved my life. So thank you all very much.
Mm-hmm.
Except Steve, he's all wrong.
Right. Sometimes we make mistakes.
I know.
Life is one of them.
By the way, Steve, please send me the name of the 2 books you mentioned yesterday so I can check them out.
Well, one of them was the one on the revolution of 1905. What was the
Yeah.
other one?
I don't know, but you know, you were correcting me vociferously about my incorrect interpretation of the war. And you held up two books to the screen and I didn't have time to write them down.
As I said, one of them was on the other side. I don't remember what the other one was. Do you remember what we were talking about specifically?
Yeah, probably sex or something.
I
Or
don't know,
maybe,
but I
you know, the note NZM or, you know, the bow die or something.
Well, let's go back to monkey stories. They're a little bit more fun.
Nice to see you, Richard. You're looking good.
I'm feeling good. What great monkey story with Dump Cunt was she loved to go down to the river. I'd take her down and she'd sit on my shoulders.
Yeah.
You had to keep a leash with her because she'd run away. But I had ears big enough, she'd hold on to them and I'd dive into the river. She'd stay right there and we'd come up and she'd shake her head and she'd pull on my ears, do it again, do it again. She loved going swimming, but would terrorize the camp if she got out. Oh my God, you hear them screaming and yeah, she was a piece of work.
Well, if we tell, I grew up in Washington, so I apologize, you guys. I'm part of the government in a way. But when we appear before the Senate Armed Services Committee for money, we tell monkey stories, we'll get all the money we want, because it is incredible stories of human simian relationships. And the other thing is, I often tell civilians, you know, people that don't know shit, I tell them, no, I used the monkeys because they were more intelligent than the CIA. You know how a monkey can smell a pregnant woman at 30 yards? Well, because if somebody wants to kill you, they smell different because their hormones are different, right? And they can smell somebody at 100 yards because they grew up in the jungle. They didn't grow up in Brooklyn, right? So if Cunt or Pisser didn't like somebody at 50 yards, I believed him and I'd pull out my gat and make him walk away. And that probably saved my life. CIA didn't do shit, but the monkeys saved my life many times. And the civilians believe it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Special Forces had a psychiatrist who was not assigned to the group but came to Vietnam. And when I was in country, my mother sent me an article in the New York Times from this guy's work, which said that the average lifespan of a camp commander was 3 months.
Yeah.
Competition between the officers and the senior enlisted men in the camp was a very challenging duel. Since I was in 2 Corps with 28 camps, losing an officer every 3 months in each camp would have really added to our casualty list.
Yeah.
So I became interested in this guy's work. And over the years, as I've talked to people, I've gotten a lot of information from the other side. And one of the stories is that they used to chase the monkey. Well, it starts out, the guy was up on an OP and he hadn't had any food for several days. A helicopter comes by, he's hoping he'll get some rations. Rope drops down with a cup on the end, and the psychiatrist asks him to piss in the cup. Which pissed him off. And from that time on, he and the other members of the camp would chase the camp monkey around to get him to piss in the cup to give to the psychiatrist. So there's another monkey story for you.
No monkey stories? I'll tell a story.
I got a monkey story.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, from Fruit Tuck. The Montagnards used to harass the monkeys, something terrible. And so he hated all the Montagnards, but he liked the Americans. But we used to get Dumb Cunt drunk. We used to feed him a 5cc syringe full of whiskey, and he was just like a person. He'd get drunk and thought he was the greatest flyer in the world, and he'd leap from one end of the cage to the other, and he would always miss the swing when he was drunk and hit the far wall. And
Matthew, is that how you pronounce it?
And he hated smoke grenades. we used to take a smoke grenade and loosen the pin and put it in the bottom of the cage. And she would see us putting it in there, and she'd start screaming at us and run to the far end of the cage and scream at us some more and keep looking at the smoke grenade. And she knew the pin was loose because it's been done to her before. Finally, she'd break down. She'd run down, grab the pin, and run back to the corner, and the thing would pop smoke, and pretty soon she'd be all red or all purple or something. But she just couldn't leave the smoke grenade alone. She had to pull that pin.
Well, that sounds like human nature.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, you know, we just, if we have something that'll fuck up, we just can't not go do it sometimes.
Manny, did I pronounce it right? Manny, you were 224?
Yeah.
I've got a friend here, Sarge Gamanchi is his name. Richard, he served with SF. I think he was in the 3 Corps as a medic. He was near here, and he told me that the medical training was pretty thorough. So first I want to thank you for doing what you did. I have a local friend who was a medic with 101st in Vietnam. And I told him about Sarge, who was a medic with the SF. And the 101st medic said, wow. So apparently you guys got remarkable training. Thank you.
It was so remarkable that the whole PA business was designed to take advantage of special forces medics. And we have a lot of SF medics, including your own Boxy there, Doc Paget, who were extraordinary PAs whose skills went far beyond. They taught doctors the things to do.
Yeah, I agree. Special Forces medics were like Harvard, and they would teach you how to actually do stuff instead of putting you through all sorts of, you know, internship hell. You actually knew how to do it right now. And they saved themselves a whole bunch of time, but still, they'd take a year worth of training, and they could do brain surgery as far as I'm concerned.
No brain surgery, no abdominal surgery. But
yeah, but you sure could hand out penicillin.
Yeah. The class I started there were about 80 guys in the class at the 918 course.
Yeah.
By the time we graduated, there were only a dozen of us left.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, I was down at a graduation ceremony. One of my Chinese students graduated, and some of the new medical stuff they have is in-fucking-credible. Using cyanoacrylic glue to just put body parts back together, and all sorts of little sensors they can stick in you and understand what's going on. Really amazing stuff now.
Yeah, I looked at some of that stuff and I said, wow, if I had that back in Vietnam,
yeah,
it would have been a different story in a lot of cases.
Well, I can speak from my experience at the A camp that Matty was a hell of a medic. I saw him do things that were pretty friggin' amazing.
Yeah, be illegal in America, but in a war zone, go for it, guy.
Yeah, well, when you're the most qualified medical person in the whole district, you know, there's no other doctors around, so you're it.
Yeah.
You couldn't always save everybody. I lost patients, but you know, treating 50 people a day in the medical bunker, all the local people were coming in every day.
Yeah.
You could save someone's life by fixing a hangnail because of the infections that happened.
Matty, do you remember the story of one of some special forces camp took somebody, some poor kid with a hair lip, sent him down to Saigon, you know, like the movie MASH, and had him operated on, and then had the helicopter fly in with a whole parade for the village and all sorts of celebrations. And, you know, for the next couple of months, everybody in the special forces was a god in that valley because they had healed the wounded.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
That was in the Green Beret magazine.
Yeah.
She's a girl, I believe.
Problem with sending, I always had the option of sending a patient to Quignon, to the hospital.
Yeah.
They would treat them. But the Montagnards were very wary of doing that because they believed that if they died away from their village, they'd wander forever.
Yeah.
So it was a choice of, I can save your life by sending you to Quignon, but I can't guarantee that you're being transported back, because that was an issue. They would always medevac them, but they wouldn't always fly them back by paper. So people had to hoof it back from the coast, and some people didn't make it.
Well, thank you, Med. Thank you, Doc. We love you.
Well,
But we're not
Maddie,
gay.
Maddie, as a medic, I wanted to say a few things. On my DD 214, it lists 52 weeks medic training. And I think that's because when I first went in, my AIT was medic. And then when I went to Special Forces, they made me a medic, sent me to a bunch
Well,
of
out on the
schools.
table. Yeah. I didn't even look at it.
Say what?
Hey, Barry, do you remember Bozeman fixing the kids with the hair lip?
Oh, yeah. Bozeman was wonderful. Bozeman, Sheltis. Yeah, we had good medics.
Yeah, we fixed a lot of kids up, little babies sometimes.
Well, that's
Yeah.
also a reason why a lot of us came back alive. You know, very few Vietnamese fragged Special Forces people, a couple, but in general, they left us alone because we did that kind of shit. Whereas, you know, some of the line units, the Vietnamese would just shoot them in the back or give them a case of clap that would kill them or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we did have a good relationship with the Vietnamese, and who's been back to Vietnam? I've been back 3 times.
I was back 2
Yeah.
years ago.
How do you like it?
It's modern.
It's different, isn't it?
Yes.
My daughter's been back, and she wants they want to live in Hanoi.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of students. I was teaching in China for 10 years. I have about 10,000 students in China, and a couple of them went to Vietnam, and they liked it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is one of the subjects of my book, and all of you are welcome to send me rude comments or whatever, right? But I was in Vietnam, Saigon, when I was 12 years old when the first 2 guys were killed. And there's a long story on that, but you know, because we didn't recognize Ho Chi Minh when he wanted to join with us, finally gave up. By 69, he started the war because he knew he could win, right? So we lost the war, but we won a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And we ain't dumb. And actually, we have a lot of, because I grew up in Washington, we have a lot of power to change the ideas in America, because we were the only ones there. You know, we could have done a little bit better maybe in Afghanistan.
I don't understand what happened in Vietnam. We were winning when I left.
When did you leave? 68?
Yep, 68 September.
Well, it's kind of a problem. Vietnam had treaties with Moscow and Beijing of self-defense, right? And so what's his name? Who's the line general that's going to do a battle of attrition? Well, we killed the Vietnamese at 25-1, but we're connected to a continent full of, you know, 4 billion people. And we got what, 180,000 million then? And we're going to fight a war of attrition when they have, you know, rail, sea, and airborne and road traffic with Moscow and Beijing. There was only my opinion. And if it's none of my business in your opinion, you can tell me to fuck you, Chip. That's okay. I'll understand.
Well, the They had lots of replacements, and we were fighting with one hand tied behind our backs.
Yeah, but the main problem is it was on the other side of the world, and if we win, how are we going to fucking occupy the nation? Unless, you know, unless we win their hearts and mind, and that includes Ho Chi Minh's, right? And there's a long story there. You're going to love and hate my book about that. But yeah, we could have won. We won in Japan, so to speak. And actually, I was in China. We won in China. Then Trump came along. How many of you guys love Trump?
Let's not go there.
Oh, come on, just one Trump monkey story.
I, for one, do not.
Ah, I see. Well, just so you'll know, the evangelical thing is a extension of the Muslim-Christian war. And how did Trump raise his army to invade the Capitol? Are you ready for this? Fentanyl. Because if you give somebody with fentanyl Kool-Aid, they won't remember what happened. So if you, I kid you not, if you have a 3-day Christian retreat in the mountains and you give somebody a little fentanyl Kool-Aid on Friday night, and then give them the hellfire and brimstone, you know, let's kill the liberals speech on Saturday, and then on Sunday, bring them back down, they won't remember Saturday, but they'll remember hating liberals, right? That's how he did it. Fentanyl, which was invited in 1959. You know who liked fentanyl? Otto Skorzeny. Fucking hey, man.
This sounds like a conspiracy theory to me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think the Churchill, you know, in 1915, I think he knew full well and had somebody out in a little boat with a flashlight and Morse code in German directing U-boat 20 to seek the Lusitania. And I wouldn't be surprised if he knew about Pearl Harbor. He sure wanted us in the war.
Hey, Wood, I think you're beyond your area of expertise.
Yeah, way
Quite
beyond.
possibly, but maybe not.
Let's not
Okay,
forget
let's back to
the
monkey stories.
don't forget the fake moon landing.
Well, that's true, right? But that was all the mothership that's in orbit overhead watching over us.
Well, I appreciate being here. I got to step out and pick up my grandson at school. This was fun, and really appreciated seeing you, Maddie. It's been a long time. And Wood, thanks a lot. And it's great seeing some faces here and hearing the stories. And you can never hear enough monkey stories as long as you live.
Are you gonna come back, Richard?
Not today, but next
Okay.
time we do this, I will be.
Write down my email,
I got it.
philosopher. Okay, send me an email. I need your input.
All right. We'll do
Because
it.
if the right Special Forces book could have a big influence to our advantage and global advantage, I kid you not.
Yeah, if not in monkey stories.
Oh, fuck you.
Airborne to all of you.
All right, Richard.
Thanks,
Take
guys.
care. Nice seeing you again, Richard.
Nice seeing you.
Hey,
What's the title of your book?
Steve, I'm Bert Adams. I'm going to sign off here, okay?
Bill,
Take care.
thanks for coming.
Take care, Bert.
Hey, Stephen, I gotta go too. You're gonna do this
Enjoy it.
again, right?
Holy shit. Everybody's
I'm going to leave it open to you guys to set up your own little deals. I'll pass on anybody who calls me. I'll give you a mailing list for your camp. And you can follow up from that. I got to turn my attention to B-23 next week.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So long, guys.
Y'all take care.
Thanks for coming.
All right. Thank you.
Later.
Does anybody remember Mike Casey, who was up at Bong Song?
Absolutely. He was my boss.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, you're a buddy. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
You know what happened with him?
Yes.
Not quite a monkey story, but he died in court of a heart attack.
No. Cancer.
Oh, I thought it was a heart attack on a courtroom stair.
We met, I met up with him in some early 90, I forgot. We were motorhoming around the USA, and I went to Ridgefield, Connecticut.
Ah,
We had lunch, and he told me he had cancer, and it was about 6 or 8 months later, he died.
yeah, I did a lot of undercover work, diplomacy shit for Colby. But one time I was dressed in black pajamas and sandals and a conical hat, and I showed up at Bong Song because I wanted to stop in and get some food. And Casey just went absolutely ballistic, spittle flying out of his mouth as he screamed at me for being out of uniform, wouldn't give me any food, and kicked me out of the camp. Well, fuck you. So,
Well,
you know, I tried to find him again, trying to straighten it out, but he'd already gone.
but you know, he left early from Vietnam because a high school classmate of his was a helicopter pilot.
Yeah.
And the guy rearmed and refueled and drove it into the runway, burned up. So
Killed himself,
Casey,
you mean?
no, it was an accident. But Casey escorted the body home
Ah.
and didn't come back.
Yeah, he struck me as being a little too passionate, maybe. Too much by the book.
Well,
but he was your friend, I guess. I'm sorry.
Very, very good friend, yes. And as a matter of fact, we corresponded for many years before we really got together.
Yeah.
And I have one letter that I kept from him that it means a lot to me.
Would I think I'm a very good writer, but whether you agree with what I write is going to be something else. But it would be nice if you'd write something about kids.
I could. Yeah. He was probably one of the few, in fact, best I can recall, the one young officer that I really encouraged to stay in the Army and make it a career. I thought he would be a fabulous commander eventually. But, you know, he was the S1 for a while, and that's where I worked for him. But then he went to S3, and he kept me on his role. I worked both jobs during that period. And then he went to Hatay, and actually he went out to Hatay as XO and then became commander. I think he followed Captain Ballman. And Ballman retired as a brigadier general, lives up the street from me here.
Really?
And also, I did talk to Frank Scotty last week, the week before last. I got the info from
Charlie Ballman, yeah.
Yeah. He was, his last job was commander of the Army Training Center at Grafenwehr.
Yeah.
Yeah. I ran into him in the PX in Germany when he was a lieutenant colonel. It's accidental. But Frank Scotty's down in Florida, and he was the S2 at one time. Steve Sherman gave me his number, and I called him and had a nice conversation. Only other ones that I'm in touch with is Joe Hannon, Gary Wagner, Mike Reisner.
Yeah. Reisner, I remember him.
Yeah. He owns a bus station in Etheridge, Tennessee.
Really?
Yeah. He was doing contract work in Iraq and Afghanistan. And he was in the 20th Reserve Group out of Alabama.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if he retired from that or not, but.
Oh, what about the question of Captain Smith? There was a Captain Smith with SF who was captured, and he was a POW for a couple of years and was released.
That's Mark Smith.
That's Mark Smith. Another Mark Smith called Zippo.
Yeah.
He lives in Thailand and commutes. He was captured, I think, at Anlock in 1972.
thought Special Forces was gone by 72.
He was not with Special Forces. I think he was advisor to the Airborne Division. And
Okay.
but
You
he-
guys remember
he
Colonel
goes by Zippo.
Cerrone?
Unfortunately, I do, and that was when he was in the track.
Well, he commanded B-22 for a while. And I was sure glad to see him go until Marshall Lawson showed up. That was even worse.
I don't want to be rude and interrupt this guy.
Oh, go ahead and be rude.
Well, I'm just saying, my wife and I have got stuff to do, and it was nice seeing you guys. Barry, I'm delighted to see you.
Good to see you, Jim.
Hey, Jim.
Hey, talk to you again.
Are all of you guys, were you all you guys at one point in time in Bangtan?
No, in B-22 was the criteria.
Okay, so the Quinyon B team.
Yeah, and the subordinate teams.
Yeah, right.
Who was the B team commander at B-22 in May '68?
Was Major Duke when I was there, but I ended up in September of '67. Was Duke still there?
No.
I don't know, but I came in May '68, and the first thing is the command, and I've forgotten who it was, wanted me to hold because I was supposedly an expert, having lived in Vietnam 10 years previously.
It would have been Cerrone.
No, Cerrone came later.
Did he?
Yeah, Cerrone came in maybe March '69, and nobody liked him as far as I can remember.
I thought he was there earlier.
You what?
Oh, I thought he was there earlier, but
No,
you've got the information.
I remember him because we didn't like him so much we tried to fix him up with a syphilitic whore.
May of '68 was
Really?
was Connolly.
Yeah, there's Cerrone.
Cerrone's down at October. Yeah, he was there when I was there.
Is that William Dukes? Is that the guy that became major? He was a major, right? He was the guy at C team.
He was. This is the commanders of B-22.
Yeah.
Yeah, Longfellow. How was that? Maybe it was Longfellow. January, February, March, April. No, then it would have been Connolly.
Boy, look at these. You got a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. This is great information.
Well, it's all on the internet. It's been there for many years. All you have to do is look at it.
Yeah, but you're the fucking genius that did it.
Michael, I'll give you a call.
All right, Jim. You
Bye,
take care
everybody.
now.
Thank you.
Hi, Jim.
Okay, y'all take care.
Sorry I was late arriving.
And
As
early leaving.
usual.
I'm the guy who had the food, and you guys, I can't give it to you over the television.
Well, what I was going to say about Cerrone, I left B-22 in June of '69, and the Army had saw fit to send my butt to Germany. So I went to Heidelberg, and I was there about 3 or 4 months. And out of the clear blue, I got a damn call from Colonel Cerrone. And he said there was a SF job coming open, or it was open at headquarters UCOM in Sacré-Cœur, and he thought that I would be a good man for the job. And he said, and by the way, you won't be working for me. And I said, I went down for an interview and got hired. And so I got to Sacré-Cœur, got back in SF, and he was an ops officer and a totally different kind of guy. His mannerisms, he was always pretty stern, and he never smiled. I don't think he was ever happy about a damn thing. But at UCOM, he was a staff officer along with about 15 other ones. And he just seemed relaxed and calm, and you could talk to him.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, war will change you. Now, buddy, I had an experience, maybe you can remember it. A black special forces officer was a Black Panther in Quinyon, and it must have been April or May of '69. I think he was a cook, but he came to me and wanted me to help him against some white.
As an officer, was a cook. Come on.
I don't know. No, he was a sergeant, I think.
We only had two black ones in the B team.
Yeah.
Jerry McCoy, he was Spec 5, and he was an infantry guy, and he ran the mess hall. And then we had a sergeant, he was supply sergeant. Help me, Steve.
Everybody's olive drab to me.
Huh?
Did either of them come from Chicago?
McCoy did.
McCoy.
Yeah.
Is he still alive?
No.
Shit.
He got hit in Tet 68 and hospital, recovered. He did not get medevac, I don't think. Don't remember he did.
Yeah.
But I don't know when he left or how he left, but that was McCoy. He was from Chicago area.
Jerry McCoy, huh?
Yeah.
Does he have a family, any connection there that might still be alive? Children?
I don't know. I never had any contact with him again after Vietnam.
Yeah, because he's kind of a main element of my story. That
I do have a photo of him.
Can you send it to me?
Yeah, it's him and a couple of Vietnamese girls while he was in the hospital.
Okay, yeah. My email is philosopher@USA.
I got it.
Good. Right. He's the guy that I sent, so to speak, sent back to Chicago and find a champion black basketball player, champion golfer, and then we could run a black guy from Harvard for president.
Well, we had a black lieutenant there, Murkerson.
Markerson?
Murkerson, yeah.
Spell.
He's in Virginia.
Was he a Black Panther kind of guy?
Not
you know.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't know him.
A fighting guy. He's in Virginia?
Yes.
Do you know him?
Yeah.
Can you have him call me or send me an email about it?
I'll send you his stuff.
This is a huge fucking story. America's first black president because of a brainstorm of a Green Beret. Fuck you, Steve. Because guess what? You know, if my story's true, and it is, right? I get him elected, and what does Obama do when I'm in China? He puts me in jail for 84 days in the municipal jail of Nanjing, right? And then when I come home, I have to live in homeless shelters because they wiped me out coming out, right? And all the black people around me are giving me a hard time. And it reminds me of Obama, not of Obama, but his anger management guy, Luther. And Obama did a comedy on it, right? So if we can get this story right, we can get Obama on our side because he's underemployed now. I know all of you hate him. Well, he fucked up. He didn't hire me because I met him in, God, I've forgotten the year.
Yeah.
It must have been right around 99 or something like that. Him and his handler, the Jewish guy, Axelrod. And they promised they'd give me a job to give them advice about foreign policy. No, Ted, they put me in jail. Fuck you. But jail in China was very interesting because I became famous in jail. And that means that when I go back to China, I'll have the Chinese underworld ready to work for me. They all love me. Very special forces shit.
Oh, I wanted to tell you on my trip back to Vietnam.
Yeah,
we actually did a Southeast Asia cruise out of Hong Kong. We stopped in China and then Hanoi and Da Nang and Nha Trang. In Nha Trang, I hired an Army officer with an American Jeep as a tour guide.
Trying to log off by getting in there.
I have a dentist appointment. You have a dentist appointment.
Hey, thanks a lot for all this information, guys. I appreciate it. Stephen, thanks a lot for running it. I got to take off.
Okay, Mike.
Good to see you.
Hey,
All
Mike.
right. Take care now.
So anyway, where the entrance to 5th Group was in Vietnam in the train. Now, there's a beautiful Chinese Army guard shack, and it's decorated really nice. Big sign in English that says no photograph. And then right next to it is a high-rise apartment.
Yeah.
And I took a picture of the 5th Group old entrance. Got away with it too. But didn't like it. But anyway, it was interesting.
Hello, Bob.
Hey, how you doing, Sherman? Stephen, how you doing?
Okay. You want to rename yourself over there?
Well, I rename myself as Bob.
Okay. Just Bob.
That's it.
Okay.
I had a question. I'm just looking at the rooms. I don't see anything with like Boo Prong 64 when we first went over there.
On my website, you've got all that. This was devoted entirely to B-22 and the sub-teams under B-22.
Yeah, well, I was B-22, A-223.
Right, that's why you're here.
Right, but I don't see anything
Blue Prong
reflected.
will be what I do after this. That's B-23. So after
Pardon?
that's B-23, 236.
Yeah, well, when we went over on 1010, we were all 223. And then when we went to On-K,
you were
everybody disappeared except Hendricks, who was the CEO. Who was the CEO, and everybody went to On-K on 11/1.
You're Bob Oliver, aren't you?
No, I'm Bob Tamashunas.
Ah, you gave us the name. Ha ha.
Who was the last guy that was on? They're just throwing the F-bomb all over the place.
That's Wood.
Who?
Me, Chalmers Wood.
Ah, he should clean up his mouth a little bit.
Oh, you must be a good Christian.
No, I'm just a polite person.
My apologies then.
Yeah, On-K, everybody disappeared except for Hendricks and On-K, and then the dates are wrong too.
Yeah, well, what happened with that team is it went off first to Tom Lin, and then it went on.
No. We all went to On-K on 1/1, and that's when the first air cav came in, and we're all by the airport. Where our camp was off the airport and On-K, and the first air cav in. We still were there for several months.
Right. But after
you don't have any of us in there except Hendricks, and you have him in there from you have him in there till from 11/1 to 4/1. He was in Buprang on 10/10.
Well, he didn't come here. Didn't answer the phone when I called him. But I will be doing H236. I'll be doing Buprang over the next month.
Oh, okay. So I should come back in the next month or so.
Well,
or look it up
for On-K. But for On-K, you have to look it up under B-22. For Buprang under B-23.
Oh, okay. Now, quick question on the codes. When I want to update the codes and it said don't open it, might harm your system. Could you just tell me what the codes are? I know Y is yes, YE is what? Yes, but you can't get hold of.
I have an email.
Huh?
Yes, I know where you are. What E means I have an email for you.
Okay. Now AOU is.
I'm really not sure where you are.
Okay, and then yellow, purple, and green. What's the difference between yellow, purple, and green?
It depends on the camp. Usually it's when the camp has been divided up into different groups.
Oh, when you split.
Yeah.
After 6 months, okay. Right. So it's all yellow, purple, and green is just split camps?
Probably, yeah. Split teams. It depends on each camp. And I just chose colors when I was working at the camp to differentiate.
Yeah, I can understand it. You're doing a hell of a job though over the years.
Yeah.
Well, keeps me out of trouble.
Well, all right. So anyway, you say you're going to do 236 at a later date next month or so.
I started out with, I left this all off for about 8 years. I've been working on some other projects.
Right.
And I came back to it because somebody had questions on B-22. And I realized that I had enough information to make some major changes, but I've only got so much more lifespan left to do it. And
No, I realize that.
there, so I'm going to try to make one pass through the whole country again one time, and hopefully I get it all done.
Well, how old are you now, Steve?
I'm 78.
Okay, I'm 77, so we're both there.
Yeah.
Walking on the grass, still on this side of the grass.
It's about a month's time to do one B team, and they're probably the equivalent of about 15 B teams.
Oh, where really?
If I worked on it for a year and a half, I might catch up.
Wow.
All right, but
all right. Well, no, I think you're doing a hell of a job. Now, if there's some date change, some errors in dates and all, should I just email you those?
Yeah, just email it to me. Let me know what it is. I'll make the change.
Yeah, because like with our team, you got some coming on 11/1, some on 10/10, some on 10/1.
Well, I have different information. For example, if I have a specific date for somebody to and from, it probably came off of his Bronze Star for Service, a service award.
Oh, okay.
Beginning and ending date of a tour. But that doesn't count the fact that he spent a few weeks in the Trang screwing around or in a casual status.
Oh, okay.
I did the best I could. If I had,
no. I think you're doing a hell of a job. But should I still say,
I had a guess.
They're minor date changes. Should I even bother with them?
Yeah, because if I see somebody who came in, I've got a good date for him, then the guy who he replaced probably left about the same time.
Okay.
So it helps me narrow it down. In fact, that's probably the biggest change that happened in this effort to change B-22, is that I was able to sit there and say, wait a minute, you don't have a demo guy here at this particular time. I was able to see who followed who for the most part, because there's enough information now that wasn't there before.
Okay, now you're asking which Bob? Should I just type in my last name where the question mark is?
If you go to your name, Bob, over there as guest.
Yeah, on the right-hand side.
On the right-hand side says More, M-O-R-E. Click on the
Right.
More, and it says rename.
All right, Stephen to me privately, and then it says which Bob. It's got a question mark, but don't.
No,
you
but
can't.
just on your name. If you move over to the right-hand side of your name, there's a little blue button that says More.
No, I'm not seeing that with the chat.
No, it's not in the chat. It's in the participants.
Oh, in the participants. Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, I'll do that at a later date.
Yeah.
All right. So it was a pleasure, and thank you very much for all your effort.
Well, pleased you get here.
Now your books, you don't have to buy them all, right? You can buy certain years.
You can buy certain years, but there's so much stuff in here. It's like having a yearbook. In 66, which is the short year, there's a very detailed index, and that's for all the books. So if you want the index, you got to buy volume 1. And if you're in volume 2 and you don't buy the index, then you don't see that. So,
All right. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
the set is pretty good to have. It's like having a yearbook.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, thanks for everything, Stephen.
Okay.
Take care,
You have a
Bob.
good, healthy year and stay safe, huh?
You too.
Take care. Bye.
Yeah.
Oh. So Steve, I have a question. Okay, a couple of guys I'm meeting this morning here I served with, Chip Wood and Buddy
Yeah.
G. Now, do I have to ask them, or do you have their emails and
I have
phone
their emails. One of the things about the chat over here, buddy, is you can send him your contact information by the chat.
Oh,
And Chip, you can do the same thing.
Yeah, Vernon, I've got your email address. I'll email you.
Okay, great. Yeah, I would like to visit with you. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Chip has my email.
Who was that? Oh, Buddy.
Yeah.
And Buddy, you were there at B22 for quite some time.
Yeah.
So I got some stories about Martha Ray and
Oh, yeah.
a few other things that you might, yeah, I want to visit with you on the phone sometime.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Let me
should
give you my
stick
phone
together.
number. I'll give it to you out.
Okay.
Loud. Area code is 210.
Okay.
778.
Okay.
7004. That's my cell phone. And
Okay. 210-778-7004.
yeah,
Yes, sir. Thank you.
my email.
Yep.
Sam Golf Mike. My last name GEE at AOL.com.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Vern, you have my email, don't you?
Do I?
Well, I got an email from you that's a copy of Steve's letter.
Oh, okay.
And my phone number 304.
Okay.
257.
Okay.
8359er.
8359. I remember you tried to get a hold of me like 20 years ago or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in the hospital with a heart attack, and
I remember.
I'm sorry I didn't get back to you.
Well, I wanted to commit suicide, but something pulled me through that, hope that something like this will happen in the future.
You should have got back to him, Vern.
I was standing in the window.
I see where the Baron Munchausen came from. You are a sick man.
Definitely. I couldn't help it. It was my childhood.
Well, if you were in Vietnam during your childhood, you definitely got a problem.
No, I was in Belgium during the Marshall Plan, and George Marshall literally was our boss. And I kid you not, in those days in Belgium during the Marshall Plan, everybody was the most passionate. We must change the world. And my dad would actually carry me around because I had to have an eye operation. So I was a wounded baby, right? And he'd carry me around and use me to get a German and a British guy to talk to each other. And they'd been trying to kill each other a year before, right? And they would get really, really nervous. So Dad had some really strong martinis he'd give them. I kid you not. And they would end up fucking drunk on their ass after they'd get over hating each other. They were saying things, your fucking Panzer was pretty damn good. No, your Typhoons knocked the shit out of us. And then they would get so fucking drunk that let's never do that again. And that's where the European Union came from. That's where the real passion for it came from, was the older soldiers saying, that was really stupid. Let's not do that again. And that has infected my spirit. So Baron von Munchausen is very much a hero of mine. I tried to ride a cannonball, but I had to see the medic after that because it gave me the clap.
God. Good.
I'm a good rider, right? And I want you all input, and I do need your support. Okay, I'm going to sound all sorts of biblical here, but we were at a very precise turning point in human history. And Vietnam was kind of a jobs program, right? Because we have too much sex, we produce too many faulty human beings, It's all women's fault because they have the means of production. Forget Karl Marx, it's pussy, right? Anyway, I think I know how to turn this into something big. In other words, write a good book, because here's something, remember Cervantes, Don Quixote, the book? He only sold about 3,000 when he was alive, right? And it was kind of a complaint against the Spanish Empire, right? But he had to be really careful because the Jesuits slice his balls off if he said too much, right? But anyway, he sold about 3,000 when he was alive. Guess how many he sold after he died, which was 1610?
Millions.
500 million, right?
Oh, welcome.
So if I follow this marketing
You're a little
plan,
late.
right, I can sell a couple of books when I'm alive, but once I'm dead, I can sell a whole bunch, which means we could use the Vietnam War to really smarten humans up, because most humans are
And
so
you got
fucking
something
stupid.
to look forward to.
Good,
Sell
Steve,
more
we need you to, okay. But I think Vietnam was a pivotal event. And look at, I mean, why are we having such trouble in Afghanistan? It became a job program. Everybody wanted to get in on the action, and the feminists got over there and they said, why shouldn't the woman get out of the house and take the veil off so that she can screw our soldiers, right? That way she'll, become a capitalist with free enterprise. And that's what pisses off the Taliban so much, is that all of our feminists are over there, turned women into hookers. And, and with a ready supply of sperm donors called our soldiers, right? And it kind of maybe didn't really work that well. What are you laughing about, Smith?
I wonder if the hookers give a discount to SF guys.
I'm sure they do, because we know how to lick pussy. Excuse me. The little tiny pyramids on your tongue are just right for the clitoris, much better than your finger or anything like that. So if ask any medic, right? If you put a little vacuum on it, then a very low vacuum, not even a quarter of a bar, the blood will come to the surface, makes it more sensitive, and all those little sort of conical pyramids on your tongue going back and forth, about 30 beats per minute, will make her well persuaded that she needs to have a child by you. But that's the problem, is the women need to make a contract that they will not have babies unless they can afford to educate it.
Well, I think you misinterpreted the modern American soldier. He's more concerned with doctrine than he is with sex. And
speak for yourself.
No, you're not the modern American soldier.
That's true.
Right? Nor am I. The young folks today, they don't spend that long in country. They seem to have 6-month tours rather than 1-year tour. B, they have enough sense to understand why the Muslim men in Afghanistan prefer the sheep to the women. So that problem is not the same problem that we had in Vietnam.
I think from what I understand, because I was asked to go over, Stansfield Turner wanted me to go over to Afghanistan in 1980, and I told him, no, sir, is that a lot of the Muslims prefer their fellow brothers compared to their sisters.
That's true too.
Yeah.
And
well, you would know that, Steve.
And the sheep.
Oh, okay, yeah. And the goats and donkeys and chickens and so forth.
You're bringing back to me memories of
Your childhood?
Bamu Bob, steam job, blow bath, and I won't be able to sleep tonight.
Well, that's why we had a great advantage. Kabul doesn't have steam cream parlors. I mean, no wonder we lost, right? And got it all fucked up. But, I could peel out of the Quin Yon office, go down, and I'd get a hot shower, then a cold shower, then a great massage, and then the home run, and I'd be back in the office in 45 minutes.
And the women in Vietnam were a hell of a lot better looking than what's in the Middle East today.
I don't know. Some of the Afghan women are pretty good. If all of you are interested in Afghan, I suggest reading The Flash Man by Fraser McDonald. George Fraser McDonald. Flash Man
That's about
series.
a little bit dated, sort of right along there with Baron Munchausen.
Not really. It's actually fairly modern, but the main thing is he's very accurate. He's done, McDonald has done the research, and he put a fictional character amid all the real characters, and he got a lot of the shit right. It's very popular in the intelligence services. Any intelligence service, KGB, Deuxième Bureau, the Germans, any Chinese, any of them, they've all read all of McDonald's books because they're accurate. And I will occasionally exaggerate in my book, especially when it comes to special forces and sex. No, I won't talk about sex. Actually, my plan is to write a no-sex book, the first one mostly politics, and then after I die, I'll have my lawyers release the sex version.
What? Tell me that book and that author again, Steve.
Flashman, Flashman.
M-A-N.
By George MacDonald Fraser, I think, or George Fraser MacDonald. But it's absolutely hilarious. And he's got you there as a lieutenant in Kabul before the British retreat, right? And it has just enough sex in it to have, but it's gentleman, English gentleman sex, right? It's no hardcore stuff, right? But it's very accurate. The guy knows his history. Another book, if any of you want to read, would be The Riddle of the Sands, which was 1902. And that was when England and Germany were having a problem. Germany was rising and England didn't know what to do with it. It's incredibly accurate and it's kind of real. The British at the height of their empire were not dumb. They were just trying to, Christianize the world, and it was too big for them. They didn't have the population or the expertise for it, but they tried mightily, right? And that's why they still tell us what to do. Over and over again in Washington, D.C., I'll find out what's really happening, and I'll find out who's really running something, and there, at the end of it, is a fucking Englishman.
Cliff is
Also
our
taking
airspace.
over our news programs.
Bob, we haven't heard very much from you.
I'm sorry?
Bob Kveteris.
Spell.
We haven't heard very much from you out here. You know more than anybody that's out here.
I muted myself.
Oh, there you are, Robert. Good. I like your facial hair. You Taliban?
No.
Okay.
I trim it. No,
I'm sorry.
I'd authorize if you're a Taliban.
Tell us a story, Bob.
Which one?
Whatever you want.
Counterfeiting in the Civil War.
Well, I can tell a story.
Well, actually, I lost contact with the guys in my detachment for almost 30 years, but in '92 at the Fayetteville SFA convention, I ran into all of them. We had a big get together and we really got bound pretty tightly. And we still are pretty damn close. But unfortunately, I've had to be at the burial of my team sergeant and one of my bunk sergeant in Arlington. But there's still a few of us left, but I haven't been to. I used to go to the convention every year, and because the first one I went to was in Hawaii back in maybe '88 or something. I was still on active duty. The first one I went to, but it kind of got me hooked, and I kept going off and on as often as I could. But the big thing was really being able to reconnect with all the guys from my detachment, and it was really great. But you see one by one guys fading away and cashing out, and actually, a couple of guys actually cashed it in country before we even left there.
Yeah.
I never got a call back from Roger.
I have had trouble getting a hold of him. I don't know if he's gotten Alzheimer's or what the hell the deal is, but that may be the problem. But Roger was wore a coat of another color. He was a different guy.
It was a good team.
Yeah, it was.
Sprague, Knight.
George Dooley was quite a guy.
Yeah. He and I got into a pissing contest and didn't talk to each other for the last 10 years of his life. It was silly. And I knew it was silly, but we'd pass each other in the halls of the convention and never say a word.
What was the pissing contest about?
He kept complaining about what was going on in the Montagnard community, different political factions involved. And I said, look, you want to complain, go talk to some of the people. Don't complain to me. I had nothing to do with it. Go call them up and complain to George. What's his name? Complain to Mike Benj. Complain to whoever. Don't complain to me. And he kept on going on a rant. And I said, well, screw you. So,
well,
that's unfortunate, but I really liked him.
Yeah, I know the phenomenon. I had a couple of people come to me about the Hmongs. Because of my background, they think I can solve problems. No, I just can do the best I can, that's all. But I remember the Montagnards really well. They were, I got along great with them.
SF as a whole remembers them quite well. And I really think what they did for the Montagnards here in North Carolina was truly a good representation of special forces, presentation of what our character is.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the Vietnam veterans in general, not just special forces, but when the Vietnamese and the Montagnards, they came here, somehow they had the right idea in their mind. They just kept their mouth shut and worked hard and got their children into college, and the children got out of college with straight A's, and their first job, they're earning $60,000, $80,000 a year. I had one friend who's a Vietnamese, and he came here and he was so excited to make money to send to his family. He worked 3 jobs straight for 2.5 years. That's 8, 8, 8. What does that add up to, right? 24, right? And then one day he drove to the church where I was helping him out, and he just was satisfied. He just died, just holding onto the steering wheel. And the Vietnamese would talk about it. They said, no, he was happy. He died happy. And that still gets me.
The Vietnamese came here and they heard about, and they understood the American dream.
Yeah.
And they went to live it. They worked hard. They kept their family together. They didn't throw away money. And that first generation of Vietnamese that came here did really, really well and made us all very proud. But on the Montagnards, there were very few Montagnards who came out. Ed Sprague probably knew more about it than anyone else because he wrote a whole raft of correspondence about how badly they lied to him about rescuing the Montagnards. They had Montagnards going to the coast to be rescued. That never happened. So for a long time, there were no Montagnards here, but they found some. I think it was Twining found people in the woods in Cambodia. They brought them over here. They bought 100 acres of land in North Carolina, and they set up a really vibrant Montagnard community out there. Now the woodworking business has gone to hell, but that older generation is no longer is fully retired, and the kids are all graduates of good schools and having good jobs. So,
wow, cool.
So that really was well. They had a reunion a couple of years ago with like 6,000 Montagnards from all over the country, including Hawaii, that came to North Carolina to do that. Charlie?
Yeah.
We have just been joined by Ken Cook.
Sam
How are you? Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
So,
how have you been?
Everything is good.
Great.
My internet connection is unstable for some reason, but you can see, I can see all you guys. Who's this in the middle? Charlie Brewington.
Yeah.
Where's Charlie Brewington?
B-22, 1965.
That's right. We went over 'em, together.
That's right. And you missed Murray Parker, who was here earlier in the day, who was one of your medics, I believe.
What time did you start?
We started at 11 o'clock Central Time. That's what happens with time zones.
Yeah, that's.
Well, you're just smoking too much pot, that's all.
Hell, I got it growing right there, man.
There's the problem.
No.
What A team were you on?
He was on the B team, the original B team. Then you went off to Doc Soot, didn't you? Ken?
That's right. Yeah,
He had real fun at Doc Soot.
He had a lot of fun in Doc Soot. But we all got our lives.
Yeah, that was the important thing.
Where are you? Mr. Brewington, where are you living?
I'm living in North Carolina. I grew up, I'm at Fayetteville.
Wow, I'm in Eugene, Oregon, of all places.
Yeah, no wonder you have all that philosophy up behind you on flags.
Yeah, I grew up on my dad's farm, and I still own his farm.
Cool.
Yeah. And
I'll be down. That's good.
nobody's left in my family. I got one sister. Everybody else is gone but me. Every one of my high school graduated with me. They're all dead.
Yeah.
When you get to 93, you don't really have to expect a lot of people to follow you up there.
I hope so.
How many people we have here?
We're down to 8 people right now. I think we went up to about 12 or 15 at one point.
Well, next week is my 85th birthday.
You still got quite a ways to go to catch up to Charlie.
Yeah,
Charlie, you know, man.
Yeah, I'm 93 this month.
I suggest everybody try to live to 100 and beyond.
Yeah.
The world record now is about 124.
Yeah, I might make it to 100. I'd like to.
Well, if you want to, you can. It's
Yeah.
much better if you want to. The guys here in Washington, D.C., too many of them just keel over and dead because they have nothing to do, nothing to look forward to, no feeling of connection, right? So I need all of you for my book, and then you'll stay alive.
What's the name of your book?
Are you ready for this? Steve, are you ready for the title of my book? It has to be a story. Oh, okay, I know. It has to be a story, but back in 1948, I'm like 2.5 years old, and Dad is always complaining about the French this and the French that during the rebuilding of Europe under the Marshall Plan. So finally, one day I asked him, well, Daddy, what does the world need? Because it explained to me the meaning of atomic energy. And I mean, he was a real great man. And George Marshall was our hero. And we were all dead bent on changing the world. Anyway, I asked him, well, what does the world need? And he leaned back in his easy chair and stirred his martini, shaken, not stirred, and looked up at the ceiling and finally said, we need a new Messiah, right? So I'm going to name my book The American Messiah. You love that, Steve?
Why don't you just call it Trump?
But I mean, look, you know, just ask a doctor. You know, modern medicine, well, we still have a little problem with, you know, raising the dead, but you know, we can fix the lame and halt. We've been doing it for years, right? We have penicillin, you know, for leprosy, right? And we have modern politics to, you know, take care of our relationship.
And next month they'll make you wear a mask just to come on Zoom.
So all we have to do is just do a little publicity and, you know, turn everybody into a fucking messiah, because everybody's so lost now. I mean, what percent of the human race are really good for the planet? And what percent are basically lazy freeloaders? Well, it's about 12% good, 88% bad. So at least we have some numbers now to work with. So I need y'all help in bringing down the 88 and up to 12, because we really need to get to 100% within the next billion years, because in about a billion years, the sun's going to become a red giant and fry us to a crisp. And we need to be off this planet by then. So come on, you know, let's get a little action going here, folks.
American Messiah. Oy vey.
And you got some room over there. He needs something to smoke.
And with that, I think I will sign off and go
No.
Steve's book. Goodbye, folks. Enjoyed it.
I'll send you some excerpts from my book.
Okay.
But send me an email first, okay?
Okay, will do.
And I'm a good writer. You'll love it.
Adios.
Okay, and don't forget to convert the heathen and raise the lame and cure the halt and, you know, make water into wine and all that good stuff. I mean, it's easy. We can do it now.
Okay.
You know, a particle accelerator.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Hey, Steve.
Right.
When are you going to do the B-23 next week?
Yeah, I'll just start on that, but it'll be about a month before I get to putting on a meeting like this.
Okay, yeah, because I want to kind of keep my calendar open so I'll be available.
Yeah. Well, I hope I'll get it done before the convention. I leave Houston on the 15th for Las Vegas. So I'm going to shoot to get it done by then, but it's hard to tell how long it takes.
What convention?
SF and SOA both have conventions in Las Vegas.
Oh,
and
good.
I go a couple days early. I take my wife out to Orange County, and I have a lunch down there with a bunch of guys I know from that area.
I forgot the name of the casino I bought there.
You bought a casino there?
Yeah.
Well, the meetings, the convention's in the Orleans Hotel, which is not one of the better hotels, but they managed to work out.
Which right next to the Paris.
Oh, down the strip. I don't know.
Yeah. I bought a few of those casinos.
The whole casino just shares in them.
The chairs and everything, man.
How did you make all your money to do that?
Huh?
No,
How did you make
he
enough
donated
money?
that to the casino.
Thank you, AOL, that split 6 times in 1 year.
Cool.
Yeah. I got in early. I got in at $10 a share.
That was probably the only thing good that AOL has done.
Well, that's the way. That's my email address. Not too many people use it anymore, but I'm a founding member of AOL.
Okay.
Cool. It was a good idea in the beginning.
Help get America online. They got America online.
Yeah. And
They really did.
They did a lot of guidance. You know, it was not just here's an internet, do what you can do with it. But the problem that you have now is I got to help out of AOL because they can't do anything except AOL. Their entire computer is based on that. They can't find files. They can't do anything.
Well, it beat the hell out of that no video game rooms anyhow.
That's true. That's very true.
That's the way I first started with DOS.
No.
Who was that old man?
His email is philosopher.
Steve, I'm gonna check out. I got a 3 o'clock appointment.
Bob, take care.
Take care.
Posted.
See ya.
I'll get in touch, Vern.
Thank you.
Hey, Steve.
Right.
Yeah, appreciate all you're doing. I've enjoyed it. And,
Well, happy to have you. Please, you call back and thank your daughter for getting you hooked up here properly.
okay. She's, I don't know where she went. She's around the house someplace. But she's always busy.
Take care, Charlie.
Thank you. Yeah, Brenda. My daughter's here.
Bye.
Hello.
Hi, Brenda.
Bye.
Hi,
Thanks
Brenda.
for
Brenda, wait, Brenda.
Yes.
Look, I'm only 74 and I'm available. Are you available? No, wait a second. I've always had this question because somebody from Harvard told me this and I want to know it's true. I'm a white guy, right? Once you go black, you never go back. Is that true?
I've heard that too.
Oh my God.
Chip,
well, listen.
Charlie's looking for somebody. So if you happen to see somebody around for Charlie, mention.
Yeah, okay. You know, we just get our lawyers together and boot up prenups and the usual stuff, you know. We'll need some blood samples and a couple of things like that, hair samples, and we want a full genealogy. And of course, there'll be an IQ test written by white guys, but I'll help you cheat on it. And it's not a problem.
You're funny.
Okay, darling. I'm looking forward to it. I just never want to go back. White girls are wonderful, but you know, there's certain disadvantages to being, you know, white.
They might know what's going on in Chip's head.
So Charlie, do I have permission to talk to your daughter about the prenuptial agreement?
That's what you did her.
No, I need your permission. I'm very old-fashioned.
Hell, I thought she was his granddaughter or his wife. Where are you, Vernon?
I'm in Arizona, Kingman, Arizona.
Oh, so it's required that you own a couple of AK-47s if you live in Arizona. Isn't that true?
ARs are better.
No.
I don't know. I try to stay away from all the Arizonians.
Oh, well. Well, the fire will come and burn up your home pretty soon, the way things are going.
Boy, the air has been smoky here for a month. It's crazy.
Same thing in Eugene.
Yeah. Eugene, that's University of Oregon, ain't it, over there? Professor?
Let me show you. Look at it.
Oh, you're an alumnus?
No, I'm a fan. My son is. That's why I'm here.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
He came here. We were at that time living in New Orleans. That's where we were originally from.
You mean Nolans?
New Orleans. All depends what town, what part of town where you went to high school.
My wife and I, we've been to Nolans and we love it, except for the weather. You know, the big storms.
Well, that's my fault. I got this little thing here, and anytime there's going to be bad weather coming to Houston, I do my little thing, moves over to New Orleans. I learned that when Hurricane Harvey came here. If I didn't do that, you know, in the future, we'd have Harvey back in every year. People in New Orleans don't like me for that.
Well, it rained like about 45 inches at your place a couple years ago, didn't it?
That was Harvey.
That was Harvey?
Yeah, I'm right behind my house is a bayou. And I was really very lucky. Everybody else, a lot of Houston was flooded. But my bayou went up to the top and didn't overflow. They built a lot of retention ponds off the bayou, and that worked out. I was pissed off at them raising, you know, they had what they call the rain tax over here. But I got to admit, building those retention ponds probably saved my ass.
You were lucky. Well, you know, would you rather be lucky or rich?
Well, I'm up here on the second floor.
Oh, cool.
You know, I might get my toes wet sometime, but you know, all my books are up here.
Oh, good. Yeah, one of my sons was living over there, Steve, near you, and he also had a few feet of elevation and no flooding at all at his place.
Yeah, you know, it was like the Tet Offensive. I had people calling me up from all over the United States, telling me, you know, thinking I was sitting on a roof of my house ready to be rescued. And that wasn't, in fact, the case. You know, it was exaggerated. The reports in the news were greatly exaggerated.
Where are you, buddy?
San Antonio, Texas.
All right.
I got a friend that's a neighbor of yours out there. Ivan Davis, do you know him?
In Eugene?
He's not really in Eugene, but he's close by. He was an I-Corps.
Don't know him. I don't know many people here.
Radio operator.
And Chip?
Yeah.
In Washington, huh?
Yeah, I grew up in Washington. I grew up inside the government. My great uncle started the Secret Service under Lincoln, so I know a lot of shit about, you know, what president was screwing who. I'll tell you where the sexual revolution came from. It came from fucking Kennedy. He would, if you were a bureaucrat in Washington, D.C., and you had a pretty wife, he would fire you if you didn't let him screw your wife.
Ivan Davis is in Eugene.
He is?
He is.
What is, he's retired in Eugene?
I don't know, he retired. He was a radio operator in Vietnam. He lives on Van Avenue. You know where that is? Van Avenue?
I don't.
I saw some guys at the airport here in Eugene that had on sort of fatigued looking and berets. And they had a club here in Eugene.
Yeah,
and I told them that I was interested, but I never heard from them. I think these guys just showing their ass, to be honest with you, you know.
Well, there was a chapter in Portland and a chapter in Seattle. So
Yeah.
you got bracketed.
Ivan is in our chapter here at 15. His son lives in San Antonio.
Well, there's a total of about 13,000, I think. Is this correct, Steve? Ex-Special Forces guys retired all over America and out in the world too.
I'm sure there's more than that. I have that many in my database.
Yeah.
More than that. But of course, there are a lot of them are dead too.
Yeah.
I have a sad story to tell you that one of my weapons guys by the name of Philippe, got to know him real well in Vietnam, and I don't know. And I was living in Mobile, Alabama, about 1987, and I was thinking about Philippe. So I tried to call. I somehow got his phone number and called, and a woman answered the phone. I asked for him, and she said, unfortunately, he died last week. And I had been living 20 miles from the guy for 5 years. That made me sad, not trying to reach out to him before that.
I'm surprised at how often that happens. I make a lot of phone calls, so the likelihood of that happening is fairly high.
Yeah, for you, I bet.
But after many years, I was looking for one guy named Smith. You know, how hard is it to find Smith? Turns out he lives in my zip code.
I'll be damned.
He'd been here for 10 years before I ever found him.
While you talk.
Well, death is a fact of life. There's nothing we can do about it, and we might as well deal with it with a sense of humor. After all, I created the band, The Grateful Dead. So we want to live our life in such a way that our ancestors who did their best are grateful that we can carry on the tradition of improving civilization. How's that, Steve?
Sounds good to me.
Well, okay, Steve, you ready? I've actually stopped 2 nuclear events. Me and the CIA guys stopped Nixon from nuking Vietnam in 1973. And then we had something to do with stopping Stanislav Petrov from nuking us when one of their satellites mistook the sun reflecting off a cloud over Minnesota. Their Soviet satellite thought it was a launch room for a first strike ICBM, and they wanted to launch. And a guy who had been listening to all of our Woodstock peace, love, and Hare Krishna music decided to hesitate. And so he didn't launch because of music. Leathercock, you should like that.
Chip, you got so many stories. I don't know which ones are up and which ones are.
Just don't believe any of them. You'll probably be well off.
I'm going to sign off, but Stephen Smith, Stephen Sherman, and Chip and Buddy, I'll be getting hold of y'all soon. What's that? That's your book?
Now that's the magazine. It's free to download it at vvfhmag.org. I'll put that up here.
What's the URL again?
I'm going to give it to everybody. Hold on. Everyone. www.vvfhmag.org. Okay. Now for Chip.
Yeah.
In the volume 1, number 2 edition, you will see a little article on Operation Duck Hook.
Yeah.
That will disillusion you of what you believe you did with Nixon.
With Nixon, I never mentioned him.
You just did.
Yeah, you did.
Nixon?
Yes,
And
you
then
said
at-
Nixon.
Duck Hook was Nixon's
Yeah.
ability to sort of try to scare the shit out of everybody by pretending he was a madman.
Well, it worked.
That's right.
That's right.
But it was not. There was no intention of actually doing that. However,
No, he did. Here's the way that story worked out. After the Cuban Missile Crisis, it was Nixon was identified as the potentially dangerous potential president, right? So when he became president, the CIA installed Kissinger as the guy that would squeal on him if he went bananas, right? Because he's Jewish, he does jobs like that, right? So then Nixon mumbled one time that he wanted to nuke Vietnam so he could have leverage during the peace talks. And Nixon squealed, and that weekend, 100,000 peace-loving, pot-smoking hippies.
you better read the magazine. Your story's full of shit, and the background is all in that magazine. Kissinger was a major participant in Duck Hook. It was a deception operation to make people believe, and he was the one who was saying, Nixon's crazy. You better come and negotiate with me because I'm not. But that was all pre-planned, pre-arranged, and documented.
Huh.
Y'all take it easy. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, I think I better disappear as well. Buddy, if you want to continue the meeting, you're welcome to do so.
Well, I'm ready to go get a bologna sandwich.
I think I should do the same.
It's 2 hours after lunch.
Ken, good to see you.
Likewise.
Good to see you, Steve.
What was the name
Good
of
to see you.
the sergeant there that was?
Bucky Smith.
No,
Bucky Smith.
no, not Bucky
Supposed
was
to
your team,
join.
he was your team sergeant, but there was somebody, a medic or something that I used to be in touch with all the time. Like a Chambers or Millhouse or some name like that. He died off.
Yeah, they all died.
But he was.
I signed my DNR the other day.
Well,
goodbye, guys. I'm going to sign out.
Okay. All right. Me too.
All right.
I'd love to see some of y'all at the 5th group reunion.
Well,
let's do it again.
Yep.
All right.